Hello and welcome to the Wednesday, June 17th edition of the Cluster API Office Hours, a subproject of SIG Cluster Lifecycle. Just a reminder that this meeting is recorded and will be posted up to YouTube afterwards. And we do abide by the Kubernetes Community Code of Conduct. So in general, please be excellent to one another. To start with, we like to give a forum to any new attendees to introduce themselves. So if this is your first time and you would like to say hi, please do so now. All right. In that case, we can go ahead and move on to the PSAs. Oh, yes. Thanks, Vince, for linking the meeting notes in the chat window. If there's anything that you want to bring up, please go ahead and add them to the agenda under the discussion topics, and also add yourself to the attending list on the agenda and notes doc as well. Going back to the PSAs, we do have 3 pull requests out right now that are updating some of our project documentation. There's a PR out for updating our contributing file, adding a reviewing file, and also for updates to the project roadmap. So please go ahead and take a look at those and provide feedback. I'm not sure how long of a lazy consensus window you were thinking of for these events.
Maybe this week, if there isn't like any pressing comments. But yeah, we can wait like if there's contention points.
All right, awesome. Thank you. So yes, please go ahead and get comments in so that we can, with the plan to merge those by the end of the week with lazy consensus. All right. Next part is demos and POCs. Do we have anybody that has something that they want to show off? No. All right. And then next is general questions, provider implementer questions. If you have just general questions about how to use Cluster API or issues that you're running into with implementing providers, now's the time to ask those questions. Yep. All right. And then moving on to the RFCs and discussions for future proposals. It looks like the first topic up for this one is number 3190 for external remediation. Is it Nir?
Yes. So just wanted to let you know that we've submitted the external remediation proposal. Any feedback is welcome, and please let us know what you think. That's it.
All right. Any questions or comments for Nir on the external remediation? All right. Next up is going into our discussion topics. Looks like the first item is the roadmap and vision for workload cluster upgrades. Not sure who added that.
Hey, this is Jason. I hope this is the right place to ask about this, but yeah. So for workload cluster upgrades, are there any plans? I saw that there was a bit of a tool for V1 Alpha 2 to help with the workload cluster upgrades, but I didn't know if there was anything on the roadmap or any kind of vision around how that would work in the future.
All right. Is that something? Did you want to try to respond to this, Vince?
Sure. And in V1 Alpha 3, so there's two kind of like areas of upgrade is control plane and worker nodes. The worker node, we kind of already have that supported through machine deployment from Alpha 2. And Alpha 3 adds the KCP. I don't know if you heard this term. It stands for kubeadm control plane, which uses kubeadm under the hood to spin up a control plane, but also to upgrade that control plane. So with a version change, like your control plane nodes will get rolled and upgraded. You can also change other things like instance size and things like that. Right now, I think like we support both like one control plane node or three, for example, if you want to like an HA scenario. And if you have multiple AZs, like for example in AWS, I'm not sure which cloud you use, but taking AWS, if you have multiple AZs, you can actually also spread the KCP will spread like the control plane like through the available subnets. Anything to add to that, Jason? I haven't seen any raise hands.
No, I think that covered it all. Did that answer your question, Jason?
Yeah, kind of. So yeah, we're just testing out some upgrades, workload cluster Kubernetes version upgrades, and yeah, we were able to create new machine templates and then update the references to the machine templates, and it worked really well. I didn't know if there were any plans to try to help out in Cluster API, help out those upgrades, especially for like the common things like Kubernetes versions.
So I know in the past we've roughly discussed the idea of maybe trying to tie together upgrades to trigger them on just like one change instead of having to modify the control plane and then go through all of the machine deployments. But I don't think it's been much of a priority for us since the main problems that we had where there was a lot of external actions needed to facilitate the control plane actions. So I think right now, the only thing that would be missing from us adding, kind of a more unified upgrade path would be just somebody taking the time to propose how it could be done and then getting agreement on kind of a path forward for how do we implement it.
Yeah, would it be valuable for me to create like a feature issue for that, or no?
I will defer to Vince for what type of format he thinks is best for continuing that discussion.
Yeah, if you have ideas, I know we discussed this at like at the last get together, like I think it was September last year or 2 years. Yeah, last year. And some folks like kind of raised some issues, I believe, with coordination, because like you kind of want like the control plane to go first and then machines, but you also don't want to roll out all the machines at the same time. So there is like some needs of that. Yeah, but definitely feel free to open an issue. We can discuss more. This might be good, something like a good improvement for Alpha 4, for example. Fabrizio had his hand raised before.
I want only to add that recently we added to the documentation something about how to upgrade the Kubernetes templates, so how to manage upgrades, and also that we have end-to-end test that where people can look at how upgrades are managed and tested.
Yeah, I think over time, like we will definitely improve the user experience. We're trying to go one little step at a time, if that makes sense. So like now we have all the foundations working, and then we can build upon those foundation, and like have an even better user experience than there is today.
Yeah, that's perfect.
All right. Did anybody else have any other discussion topics for today? No? All right. We can go ahead and move into the issue triage. And I need to be reminded, do we normally just look at issues that are not assigned to a milestone for this meeting?
Yep.
Okay, great. Let me go ahead and refresh. And it looks like we have one, prioritizing machines without node reference when scaling down machine deployments. And this one was mostly around somebody was having issues with machines not coming up properly. And when they went to scale down the machine deployment, it deleted functioning machines rather than the ones that were failing to come up. And as Vince said, it does appear to be a relatively benign improvement. Does anybody have any other thoughts on this or any concerns with changing this behavior? All right. In that case, were you thinking assigning this to the current milestone, Vince?
Maybe 03X, not sure if we can make it for 037. But yeah, if anybody wants to put a PR up, like that would be great.
And I'll just assign it important long-term right now because we don't have anybody assigned to it, and help wanted. Oh, yes. Thanks for the reminder, Vince. We probably should mention that we are going ahead and removing the auto approval for PRs for maintainers. So I know there's been concern expressed in the past from folks that have been worried about LGTMing PRs that may have been created by project maintainers because they automatically have the approved label. And they will, I don't know if that has already merged or will be merging soon, but once that change lands, all PRs will require explicit approval. So there's shouldn't be any more worry about that. So if you're assigned and you plan to LGTM, go ahead and LGTM it. And the idea would be that maintainers would apply the approved label as one of the last actions on the PR, so that things don't accidentally get merged from just LGTM. Any other comments on that, Vince? All right. In that case, does anybody else have anything that they want to bring? Otherwise, we can call it an early meeting. And it looks like Joel raised his hand.
Yeah, sorry, I just added a late discussion topic. I was going to raise an issue about this, but just wanted to check if anyone knows anything about this already or knows if there's already an issue. I don't think I can see one. I was doing some work on the machine health checking yesterday, looking at one of the bugs, and it seemed to me like the machine health checker is, when it's looking for machines to health check, actually not checking the cluster field and just returning machines from all clusters, which I don't think was the intended behavior. So I think there's a bug there. Has anyone noticed this? Or
so is this where the label might match across different clusters?
yeah, exactly. So if you had like a label that was role worker and you had that on multiple clusters, it doesn't seem to check the cluster before matching that. So you might end up with machines from multiple clusters being health checked under the same machine health check.
And if I'm not mistaken, I don't think we have any additional field in the machine health check that specifies the cluster, do we?
There is a cluster name field.
Oh, okay.
So to me, that suggests that the machines should all come from the one cluster, but it looks like that's not the behavior right now. So I think that's a bug.
My initial reaction is yes. If we do have a field for the cluster name, then we should likely be also filtering for that in addition to the label matching. And it looks like Fabrizio is +1ing it as well. Did anybody else have any comments? Not that I can tell. All right. So
Cool.
yes, I think we're in agreement that it's a bug.
I'll raise an issue and look at doing a fix for it in the next week or so.
Great. Thanks, Joel. Any other last minute topics? Otherwise, we can call this early, 40 minutes early. All right. Thank you all, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.